This is going to be a bit of a different style of video because I do think Shallet is a bit of an issue because as someone who's used a bit often, he just kind of seems a little disappointing compared to, Gohan and Trunks. So we're going to talk about that today, probably come up with some fixes for him because he's just, straight up just a disappointment. Now, I do want to not have this entire video be negative, so we're going to start with the positives, and it's not long. He goes light element. That's really about it. I mean, I think it's cool we finally get another character that goes light element after, like 8 years of the game being out. It's about time, someone other than Shallet gets it. I mean, they do it in a really stupid way, but, at least we have it in a character that's viable, I guess. So now let's move on to the negatives, which are quite a few. My first gripe is that he doesn't do enough damage. He doesn't do any damage against either purple units or against anyone that's type neutral. He could do good damage against, blue Goku Black, but that's only when his type neutral runs out. And even then, it's still decent damage. I mean, it's the damage you'd expect him to be doing against probably most units. But yeah, I just think his numbers for, especially damage, aren't high enough. Now, another point I have written down is can't tank, and I'll elaborate this in a bit. But I think that against type advantage, he goes light element. That's not enough. I believe he goes through light element for 3 time accounts. Let me check real quick. Okay, so it's, quote, when on battlefield, on area change, or when enemy switches. Also, if type disadvantage, switch to light element for 5 counts. That does nothing. To be fair, that's useless. Why would that ever, only 5 time accounts, that's enough to tank. That's why I said, he goes light element as a positive. Granted, it's not a good way they implemented it because, wow, you get type, this is essentially type disadvantage nullification in a separate form. I just don't understand, why they put it in this. I mean, they also have, while not defeated, enemy arts, when not defeated, an enemy activates Ultimate Awaken Arts or Rising Rush, he gets 100% health restoration, -5, what the fuck, I'm reading, oh no, I'm reading the wrong thing, okay. While not defeated, at type disadvantage, an enemy activates Special Move Awaken Arts or Rush, switch to Light Element for 3 counts. 3 counts. That is useless. That is actually useless. You can't even, you can't tank a Rising Rush type neutral anymore. This is not fucking 20. This is not 2000. This is not when the game first released. This is not when units were surviving Rising Rushes. You need either type advantage or uncancelable endurance, which he does have endurance, but it's not uncancelable. Now, I think the biggest gripe I have with him is that he doesn't go dark element. How are you gonna have the fusion between, the one light character in the game and the one dark character in the game, or dark element character, I should specify, fuse, and he only goes light? He doesn't go dark. He doesn't go the element that I think most people would have been excited for, because, Dokkan, if you haven't played Dokkan, but they've had this thing for basically forever, where they have a unique, I'll call it a passive, where some units, they will do, it's something along the lines of, to put in Legends, it's type advantage damage. They will be doing type advantage damage even if they were type neutral or type disadvantage. Now, that should have been in his base kit, because that actually would have made him, more unique. And yeah, I just think that's just, a really big disappointment. I mean, he could have gone on Ultimate Blues. You could have given him Last Man, but no, I guess they were just too scared to, give a unit that has already pretty low numbers. Well, I don't think he has low numbers. I just think his, damage compared to everyone else is, probably a disappointment, but should I give it to him? Now, another gripe I have is that his design is actually not unique. Now, you may be like, what the hell? This is, the first unit this is kind of the first unit we've ever seen that has, a roulette style of blue card. But that's why I say you're wrong. We have seen units with also roulette style of, green cards, aka Manga Goku. That's the one that really comes to mind. Because he kind of does, the same thing. You pop the green, random select effects, destroy Dragon Ball, damage guard pen, nullify type disadvantage, that is the main thing that comes to mind. And I think they just kind of recycle that into Shallet, which, you know, that's positive or negative way you look at it. And I think the last gripe is he was playable way too late. This character essentially came out in 2022, story exclusive character, couldn't only use him in like, probably like what, four missions, 4 story quests. Now, that might not seem bad because, you know, it's 2022, late 2022, game was dead as dirt because, you know, everyone likes the Legends Fest with dog shit that year. But yeah, he was playable way too late. He should have either came out during that Legends Fest or the following celebration. You might be wondering, hold on. Now, you and I are probably wondering why didn't they do that? Well, I mean, this is 2022 Legends. They were having a really confusing time and it was pretty bad. Now, you may not be wondering why I'm not going to talk about the art, because the art is the least of my concerns right now. Oh, they traced over Gogeta Blues, using Gogeta Blues. Now, some people may find that, as you know, because, you know, the art is important to some people, and I'm not going to be like, oh, that's not important, because it's just not important to me, because, you know, when I summon for a unit, I kind of look at, like, oh, how good is this guy in the context of the meta? And, yeah, it just kind of sucks that they did that, because, you know, the art's a little bonus. I mean, like, yeah. Now, I will offer some fixes, but aside from just, you know, inflate his numbers, because, you know, no one likes that. So I'm going to begin, you know, listing the fixes off that I could come up with. Now, the first fix I have is kind of for his blue card. It's not going to get rid of his whole, you know, spinner roulette style gimmick, because I think that's, like, you know, actually kind of the only thing that makes him really unique. But the first fix I have is, you know, he goes dark on blues. Like, they shouldn't really be scared, especially if they're going to have this character's numbers be like this. Well, not numbers, but they're going to have him feel like he's not going to do any damage. At least, the very least they could do is make him go dark on blues. You know, it wouldn't be too damaging for the meta because, you know, everyone could tank, everyone goes tight neutral, everyone cancels buff effects. If they're really that scared, they could just have it be cancelable. But, like, I just don't understand why he doesn't go that, especially because, you know, as stated before, he should have gone Dark Element. Now, another one I have might be a little controversial, but that's Nullify Endurance on Rising Rush. Now, I say this because, you know, Super Saiyan 3 has it, Super Saiyan 3 Shallet has it on his main ability, and it's uncancelable, but let's be frank here, that... you're not really running Shallet in a serious match, but... But yeah, I do think that nullifying Endurance on Rising Rush would be a very good way to, you know, stop this, because we're in a very time account heavy meta right now. And I do think that is because, you know, Future Gohan and Trunks, you know, they release Goku Black. Both Goku Blacks, you know, tanky, disrupt. Kind of the reason why we're in this whole mess right now. Always canceling buff effects. So I do think that if they especially give it uncancelable Endurance on Rising Rush, he could have actually, you know, made sure we're not in this meta run right now, because, you know, you rush one character, they have to decide, you know, are they gonna have Goku, you know, the yellow Goku Black or the blue Goku Black get out, and boom, one character down, build up to the next one, or, you know, just not as much disrupt, and we won't be in this mess basically. Now, another one I have is kind of wild, but it is the chance to draw infinite ults on green cards. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that on his green card, you know, you usually get a blue. Instead of a blue, it'd be like a 50% chance to get an ult. And this will be because every fucking unit now cancels buff effects. We saw this with Mercenary Tao. He drew infinite ults. And yeah, that was a free-to-play character. And yeah, we're probably never going to see that again. But I do think if he did do this, we could actually, you know, get rid of, you know, the buff effects. Endurance gone easily. And yeah, that would have actually probably also saved us from this time account meta we're also, you know, currently in. Now, another thing I have is going light on Last Man Standing. Now, I do think that this should have... I don't understand why this just wasn't in his base kit. Like, the light element is still, as I said before, very underutilized in his base kit, usually only meant for tanking purposes. But if they did make it for offensive purposes, this would have actually been good, because, I mean, you're constantly tight neutral, and yeah, it wouldn't have been good. It would have, you know, at least helped a little bit, but yeah, that just would have been nice to have, because, you know, like, even if he did have this, there's no game, like, I mean, if they did give him more Last Man Standing buffs, which I haven't read the story, so I wouldn't really know a lot about that, but if they did give him a lot more Last Man Standing buffs, maybe, you know, they could have made it so that, you know, Future Gohan and Trunks, they are just better at the beginning of the match, and while Shallet is better, you know, towards the ladder, when, you know, one or both your battle members died, you know, he gets You know, he gets like fucking like what, plus like 50% damage inflicted, 25% damage inflicted. You know, heal up a little bit, get light element, guaranteed draw an ultimate, just like, you know, kind of what Gogeta Blue does. You know, the Zenkai one. But yeah, I do think that definitely would have made him more unique in that sense, because, you know, this is your game original character. This character does not need to be balanced. And by like this probably wouldn't even be like, even if you give him all these fixes, this probably isn't guaranteed to, you know, give him, you know, make him that top 1 or, you know, top 3. Now my last thing would be adding to his blue card again, but it will be, you know, 100% damage cut pen on blues. This will be, you know, like the roulette style, where instead of 50% to 100%, and that'll be, you know, to deal with, you know, all of the just all the tanky units that just tank everything. Like, it's kind of insane. Now I'm gonna take this a little bit to just, you know, kind of go off like a little rant, but they should have definitely made it so he was better than both. He should have been at least top 4. Like, you could have made him worse than Broly, but you at least could have made him better than Goku Black. Like, you could have made him better than, you know, the blue Goku Black, who, you know, just fucking does infinite combos, infinite this up. We all know how bullshit that is. And, you know, the yellow Goku Black. I just think it's wild how, if he was good, we probably wouldn't be in this mess, because, you know, blue Goku Black, just, you know, constant disrupts. Always fun disrupt, but, you know, that's besides the point. But that's just gonna turn to a Goku Black rant. But yeah, if he just had like more damage against, you know, all, like, especially against the 2 Goku Black, you could have made it so he does extra damage against Godki, a powerful opponent. Like, would you consider Zaha a powerful opponent? Probably. I mean, from what I read in the story, he did take on Beerus, I think. I don't know. That was probably like 3 years ago. I don't know what the hell we're at in the story now. Now, I do think that it's that he is still disappointing. Do I think he needs a buff? Probably not. Like, if I'm being honest, like, if he was the only part 2 unit, hell yeah, he would need a buff. But since, you know, we're going into part 3, the Zenkai got announced, it's probably gonna be Rev Gohan. That, yeah, he's probably not gonna get a buff. He's probably gonna get left behind, and he's probably gonna get remembered. Now, see, history in this game people like to rewrite history in this game. People are probably gonna say he was as bad as God Goku, he was as bad as Orange Piccolo, he was as bad as Evo Ken, you know, the classic, what's it called? The good old classic green major celebration curse. When in reality, he was just kind of the definition of mediocre. Like, he is no grade 8 Vegeta who was, you know, actually good. He's no Broly who was arguably, you know, who was top 2 on release, but yeah, he's just gonna get remembered as probably the dog shit anniversary unit, when in reality he was probably just mediocre and just need a little bit of help that he's never gonna receive, which is always fun to think about. Anyway, that'll be it. I know this is a lot different from, you know, my usual style of PvP video, but I do think this does need to be talked about, especially when Legends releases these subpar units like this, especially if it's an anniversary unit. Like, imagine if Metal Cooler released for Legends Fest. Oh boy, that would have been a fun video and a fun thing to talk about. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. I have no idea what the hell the next video is probably going to be about, but yeah, bye.